tourist getting drunk, passing out on the street,
Yeah.
waking up a few hours later, sunburn.
Totally socially acceptable.
Yeah,
and that's crazy to me, dude. Crazy.
But you get a little fucking heroin.
Yeah.
You nod out,
you
stand straight.
Yeah, take the plunge one time, dude.
It is kind of crazy that.
Hell yeah, welcome back to...
This place sucks.
And
You're
it
finding
does.
out firsthand, dude.
Yeah, we're finding out firsthand. There's a storm going on right now.
Yeah, we're under a tornado warning.
We are upstairs in a 200-year-old house.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Right in the thick of, I don't know if you can see that. Camera probably won't pick it up. But
anybody that watches this is going to know if they survived this, then, they'll know what we're talking about. But yeah, it's crazy here. This is what they were hyping up. And, buddy, let me tell you, I was outside in it, watching it, and it lived up to the hype, dude. It was badass.
This is sweeping through the whole Midwest right now, so shit, pretty much everybody that listens to the show is probably in the area of the storm.
Yeah, so I hope that if you are listening to this, that means you survived. You made it. Hopefully you didn't have any structural damage, no insurance claims, nothing crazy.
And now you'll know what night we recorded this, the Wednesday of last week, because this comes out on Monday.
Well, Thursday, but now, because it's 12:30.
And it's supposed to rain for like the next 5 days, so we're not out of the water yet. I mean, the storm's still going on.
If it gets any worse, we're going to have to go to that ARC exhibit.
Yeah, dude. That's what it was built for.
Yeah, dude, just in case. We got to take off, man. But yeah, we've been watching old skate videos all night.
Yeah, it's been nice, dude.
We started off with Baker 3, and right before we started recording this, we were watching Yeah Right. So we're trying to knock out the Mount Rushmore. Now, if you're a skater or you grew up in the early 2000s, our Mount Rushmore is the same. We put Baker 3, Yeah Right, Toy Machines, Welcome to Hell, and Flips, Sorry, as our top 4.
Those were the big ones that came out when it was, very relevant to us at the time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot
not
of
saying there's not other,
yeah.
That's just our personal Mount Rushmore.
But let us know your sound off in the comments, dumbasses.
Yeah, maybe you're a 0 dying to live. Maybe you're a 0 new blood. Maybe you're, almost round 3. There's so many great fucking videos, dude. Like, I'm not gonna...
Almost round 3 is in there for me, obviously.
Yeah.
Some of the, the old shit, the old tapes are fun, and then I watch a lot of shit on YouTube now, man.
Yeah.
Nike SB dropped.
Yep.
Theirs last year was sick as hell. A lot of people just do their own individual parts now.
Yeah.
And put them on YouTube, man.
And I mean, that's fine,
but
I like a skate video, dude.
That's like a particular piece of media that I don't think has yet to be kind of replicated, because it was like a little bit of goofing off, messing with the editing style, and then clips, man, a compilation of your whole fucking team. Yeah. It's like a fun thing, man. It was always great when a new one dropped.
Sorry, there's a lot of people blowing my phone up, checking on me and shit, and I've been replying to people, so if you see me texting, it's not that I'm ignoring the show. There's just a lot going on. Yeah, dude, and I'm the same way. Like, that particular time, having a skate video, because especially like if you watch Baker 3, you see a lot of the BTS, and you see all the crazy shit they were doing, the parties, all the wild shit, and I like that. Dude, another one, Flip had a trilogy, dude. Extremely Sorry and Really Sorry.
Yeah.
All 3 of those were fucking bangers.
Yeah. All that shit rules. And then that all kind of boiled into, what we were talking about earlier with that era of like Viva La Bam and Jackass and the kind of DIY TV. Yeah. So all those dudes came out of
I can't remember what year it was,
dude.
But it was like, I know it was 2017 when I watched it, I think, or 2018. But when Death Wish did Baker Has a Death Wish.
Oh, yeah.
That was like one of the last times I'd watched
not
one
that long ago,
felt like old school. It felt like,
little fucking collab vid, dude.
Yeah, I like that kind of shit, man. Yeah, Viva La Bam. We talked about watching Viva La Bam tonight, but
I've probably rewatched that.
And we might
a few times.
We might watch Viva La Bam tonight. I don't know.
We don't know what the night holds. I don't know if you guys can hear the thunder, but it's still rolling out there, dude.
We went to Fizz's bike shop today in Madison. I had to get a sheet of grip tape for my new board.
Shout out Fizz's.
Shout out Fizz's. Got some Jess up, dude.
Hell yeah.
Nearly just sawed my board in half trying to cut the grip tape down, just taking chunks like I was fucking peeling a fucking carrot.
It was old too. You could tell it'd been sitting there forever.
But it's fine. Jessup's
you get
good
a nice
shit.
local shop.
Anyways, we went in there, and I was thinking when we went in, I don't know what year it was or how old I was at the time, but I went into Fizz's, and I don't know who drove us over there because I was young at the time, and I was with some friends, and hell, we might have even been in high school maybe, and maybe somebody drove us over there, but I found a VHS copy. I still have it at the house. It's a VHS copy of CKY2K, which I think was probably the best of the CKY videos. And I remember watching that motherfucker, like, because when I was young, dude, that's what, like, you know, we had Josh Norton. Shout out Josh. He'll love this. Josh had Flips, Sorry, and the DC video. And the DC video was a fucking banger, dude. Anthony Van Engelen, fucking Danny Way, you know, all those dudes. And we would watch both of those pretty religiously. And then I remember being at Justin Hunt's house and downloading Baker 3 illegally on LimeWire, which is kind of badass now to sit and think about it. But yeah, dude, I found that CKY
renting,
VHS,
right at the library,
dude.
Yeah. Shout out Carroll County Library and First
for keeping
Baptist
it real,
Church
dude. Yep.
For really fucking supporting the skate scene in Carrollton for years, dude. But, dude, they would order Thrasher and fucking, you know, they'd order eventually a couple skate tapes to rent in there and shit. And then the church would set up ramps and shit when they would do those special nights, you know. And,
you know, you had two kinds of skaters, man. You had the Trans World skaters and you had the Thrasher skaters. You know what I mean? You had dudes that really gave a shit about the craft. And they were like the Trans World guys, which, I mean, I read both. We all did. But, like, the Thrasher magazines
and
fucking.
The culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thrasher just seemed more fucking, you know.
Well, I'll say this. Thrasher was sick, but I did, because, you know, you remember my room back in the day, dude. I did a shitload of magazine cutouts, did collage wall. Dude.
Yeah, same,
Thrasher would have them fucking, or Trans World would have them fold outs instead of the pictures.
I've got one that I still have hanging on the door that I had from when I was a kid. It was Jeff Rowley jumping down a fucking a big drainage type thing off a fucking interstate overpass or whatever. I still got that hanging up on the another bugler, dude. Oh yeah, I love a rolled cigarette, man.
That's a beauty.
But yeah, I had that one, and it's crazy because I met Jeff and Mark Appleyard
at Louisville.
Ollie's and
Ollie's. Damn. I remember they came nearby, but I didn't go to that one. The only one of anything I went to several like big overnight shows. You know, when the bands would play and shit at Ollie's, but the like big skate event when.
Yeah, I remember going to...
Tony and them came to Louisville.
Yeah, and I didn't get to go to that one, man, and I hated that. I don't know what was going on. I might have been out of town on vacation or something, maybe, or whatever. But I remember... And I don't know who took me to that one either. Good. I don't remember who took us to Ollie's for that particular demo, but it was the Flip and the Firm, the Feast Tour. It's like 2004, 2005, maybe. And that's before the Flip team ended up merging with the Firm team, and I think Flip bought out Firm. Bob Burnquist was there, you know, all the Flip guys. I think the only dude on Flip that wasn't there was maybe like Sebastian Salabanzi and or Bastian Salabanzi and I think Ali Bilal. I think that was like the only two dudes that wasn't there, because I mean there was a lot of fucking practically the whole team. But I remember, you know, they had the big half pipe at Ollie's. Mm-hmm. And behind it, they had the smaller one that was like the mini ramp or whatever.
They had a real actual mini ramp in there, like a 2-footer that was sick as fuck, because it was wide as fuck.
Right.
You could fucking do all kinds of fun shit on.
But I remember standing on the backside. I remember standing on the backside behind the half pipe, and there were two dudes standing there, and I was like, I wonder who this is, because they were signing shit. And I wish that this is the only time I wish that cell phones would have been prominent, so I could have got pictures with them. But I walk over, and it's Jeff and Mark Appleyard, and I had got a shirt. Either there, I think it was a Flip shirt. It had it had something on it, or a Hurley shirt. I don't know, but I remember I had my Flip shirt on. It was a yellow one. It had the
A
monkey
Hurley
on
shirt, the best shit you used to be able to get nearby would be a Hurley or a Quicksilver.
Yeah, or Billabong.
Or a
dude.
Billabong. Because you
Yeah.
could go to PacSun. I remember, like, getting my first, like, actual Vans shirt.
Yeah.
And being like, this feels
Yeah.
a step above.
Yeah, dude.
You know
I
what
feel
I
like
mean?
I'm top shit now. But
But I
yeah,
still got
they
Hurley shit.
signed it for me. It had the yellow. It was the bright yellow, and it had a monkey on it. And I believe I think it was the T-shirt was the PG one. It had he was blowing bubbles, and then the rated R one he was smoking a joint, and the smoke spelt out Flip, and then the bubbles spelt out Flip. I think it's the bubbles one. But Mark and Jeff signed it, and I've got it put up at the house, man. That's
You got a lot of goods, man. You got a lot of good
I got a
memorabilia.
fucking museum, and at the time I wasn't even thinking about collecting shit or whatever, and I just
got shit because
just got shit. Yeah,
I wish I had stuff, man, like camera phone back then, or like archives of. Because I mean, one of the biggest meets I ever got was that 2004 Warped Tour when I met My Chemical Romance, and I had pictures on a fucking disposable camera that I lost later that day. I also met fucking Pete Wins from Fall Out Boy that year. This was like right when those two bands were like breaking, you know what I mean? And then other shit, the Tony Hawk, fucking, I literally like walked up and said hi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and didn't have anything to get signed. Yeah. Didn't have a fucking phone to take a picture.
Yeah.
Now it's so easy. If you see somebody, you just take out your phone, get a quick fucking pic, keep on rolling.
I think that's why I'm like so hell-bent on taking photos now with people, because I couldn't do it when we were younger because it wasn't a thing. But like, I remember one year, I think it was for, I think it was for my birthday. My dad got us tickets for the Do Action Sports Tour.
Yeah.
And me, him, and Mom and Andy Little went down there.
Crossfade.
Got rained out. We were so
year.
fucking.
We went. I remember running into you all down there, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We might have been at something else at the Fair and Expo Center that was going on. I can't remember if we came to that or not.
But I've got like a little flyer from the show that I had people sign as well. I think Paul Rodriguez is on it. Ryan Sheckler's on it. Eric Costin, and I think Bucky Lasik. I met Bucky in the parking lot. He had like a jacket on, and he was like being discreet. And then when he got to me and Andy, he was like, "You guys are getting just the Bucky because my hand's getting tired." So he didn't put he just put Bucky.
Still cool,
but it was funny though the way he said it. He was like, "Yeah, you guys are getting the quick signature now."
He's a top dog too.
Hell yeah, dude! Bucky Lasik's fucking. He's a hero, dude. That guy fucking.
He was my favorite player on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
I played with him a lot. I remember the first one I played with Andrew Reynolds a lot.
I would play with him.
And Kareem Campbell.
Kareem, when I would do all the street shit with Kareem and all the fun shit with
Rune
Bucky.
Glifberg was cool to play with because he did the Christ Air.
Yeah.
And I thought that was sick.
Fun.
Yeah.
Who was it that puts it in their teeth?
It's hard to say, dude.
I think it's
That's another dude that I don't think people realize
it
was
might
like
be day one when he came along.
Prominent was Rune Glifberg, man. Because he rode for Flip and he was a vert guy, and like you just don't. But now, like going back and looking at that roster on that first game, like know you had to be the shit for them to put you in the game, anyways.
Well, dude, I just wish something was around back then, like dudes have now. Like, there's so much more X Games and Olympics and the fucking Tampa AM and shit like that. You know what I mean? Where there's a lot more room for more big dogs.
Right.
It was hard to make a long career out of it. Back then, dude.
Skate games were cool. I played all of those as they came out. I can't remember which one Ali Boulala was in, but I thought that was badass that he finally got into a video game. And then I remember, I think it was either Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 or 4. I think it was 3 when Bam was in it. And I remember I wanted it just because Bam was in it. That dude really was a big fucking part of our childhood if you think about it, dude.
Yeah.
He's like when our parents or like the older generations, like there were dudes that just, and I'm not comparing like the greatness I'm just talking about pop culture and like the whatever. Like you had the Boz, the football player, the Boz. He played at Oklahoma and then the Seahawks. He was like just a figure that was like good at what he did, and then he was like on TV, like, and then like Dennis Rodman. You know what I mean? Like Bam
Big
Margera was
culture,
like that.
dude.
That was like us. Like that was our
Yeah.
fucking was Bam, dude.
To a
that.
huge extent, man, because you finally had somebody like of the era and relevant you could point to, and be like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's skateboarding. That's this, that.
Yeah.
You know, because people would be like, "What's your fucking deal?" And you'd be like, "What? You've never seen Viva La Band?"
It really like
You know?
bridged friendships. It bridged groups of people. Like it really bridged, you know, because there were people that wasn't into skateboarding that were watching Viva La Bam because they watched Jackass and they remember Ryan and Bam on Jackass, so they started watching Viva La Bam, and it was like just a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Seeing those guys and
it still holds on today. There's still tons of people, that are peripheral into skateboarding culture, like they fucking shop at fucking Zoomies and shit, but aren't even. Have never stepped on a skateboard in their life.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that came from the cultural shift, I think, of the mid-2000s. Now, everybody owns a fucking pair of Vans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got some sort of skate
Is
related.
it not wild that he just straight stole the heartogram, dude?
Yeah, but I mean, he had relative permission.
Yeah, I know, but like it's just crazy that symbol's like so internationally
More,
known now for him than it is
indicative of him than
him than him
than
you
the
know?
band. Yeah, that's good.
Kind of crazy, really.
I mean, it is.
He made an impact, dude. Like he was.
Well, I mean, you've got that in other situations too. Like inarguably, Misfits Fiend Skull way more known than the Crimson Ghost. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shit like that, where you borrow from something else and make it bigger than it ever fucking was.
Yeah, and that is crazy to think about. That's that's the same way.
Yeah, I mean, the Independent took the Iron Cross. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
I mean, it's been used for like a million different things forever, but I remember rocking like Independent shit and you know what I mean? Like getting my uncle being like, you know what that Iron Cross? Because he fucking relates it to motorcycle culture, you know?
Yeah. Hell, I just put one on my new board.
Yeah.
I got the red one because I got the Independence with it. Hell, you got the green one on that board over there. Yeah. That's just, and when I see, like, it's crazy when I see that cross, I automatically just think of independent trucks. Yeah, dude, I don't even think of anything else. You know?
Until, because I've always been a little bit of a history buff, but I think it was like until reading something very popular like Mouse or something in high school, I didn't really I only equated the Iron Cross to the Independent logo.
Yeah,
like I would draw it on
shit.
shit. You know what I mean? Like
that's the same with the Iron Eagle. Like anytime I seen the Iron Eagle, I just thought of Slayer.
Yeah,
like, and I didn't realize.
Or the pentagram.
Or the pentagram.
I mean, you know how many people I've seen say, "Oh, he's got a Slayer logo on."
Yeah,
and it's just a pentagram.
You know how badass of a band you have to be to not only steal something from like the Nazis. From history,
but from multiple world religions throughout all of time.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Yeah. Which is crazy because my kid has seen it and been like, "That's the Satan sign," and I'm like, "I assure you, it's not."
That's like the one thing that like I can just like. Obviously, the swastika's not coming back. People, you can go ahead and just give up on that, and that's
in
fine.
India.
That's fine.
It's always gonna work, but over
here, no, come on. But it is crazy though that Slayer took the Iron or the Iron Eagle.
Yeah,
and that's theirs. That's theirs now. That's not the Nazis. And I know they did it because of that. Like that was their thing, the shock value and all that stuff. But it is just crazy that I just immediately, until I got into high school and we started talking about World War II and shit and like World Civ. Dude, if you'd have showed me an Iron Eagle, I'd have said Slayer. If you'd have shown me Iron Cross, I'd said Independent Trucks. Like, that's what I grew up on.
Swastika, I would have said Hinduism.
I would have said Hitler, dude. I would have said that's a Nazi.
For sure on that.
And that's what this is. This is a Nazi. Yeah.
I would be like, that's that Dead Kennedy's logo.
Yeah, dude. They need to fuck off.
That's all I know about it.
So many good bands and shit, too, I got turned on through skateboarding, man. Even bands that were not popular that still are not popular. And they probably never will be.
Well, just the videos we just watched. I mean, Interpol and Joy Division and the Cramps.
Baker 3 opened up with the Cramps.
Children of Bodom.
Children of Bodom, yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
I thought it was cool. In Baker 3, you know, they do the music credits at the end.
Yeah.
And almost all of them are the artist, maybe the producer, writers, and then the licensor.
Yeah.
But Children of Bodom must have owned their own masters on
Yeah.
that shit because it was, you know, rights given by Children of Bodom.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And big rip, you know.
Yeah, to Mr. Alexi Leho, man. As I like to say, the Eddie Van Halen of my generation, dude.
All good, yeah.
Which is crazy to say it like
well,
that.
I mean, truly, dude, to play what he played and do vocals at the same time,
my
pretty
Uncle
wild.
Steven actually said that to me. He's like, Steven's like a huge music buff anyways. Like, he's ate up with fucking, like, the same shit that I like, you know, the 80s shit, and, like, it's like my dad, like the Guns N' Roses, like, but, like, he listened to a lot of other shit, too. He was really into punk. He really got me more into the Misfits and, like, all that kind of stuff. But I can remember we were talking after he died, and I was like, man, you know, like, Children of Bodom was one of my favorite bands. It's like, I don't know if you would necessarily like it because, like, it's just, it's a lot different. It's heavy, you know? I said, but he was, like, really great. And I remember he went and checked them out, and he was like, that dude was so good. He was like, that has to be, like, the Eddie Van Halen of your generation, dude. And I ain't gonna say I got emotional, but I was like, damn, dude, like, it hit me because it really was, dude. Yeah.
If more people knew them, and they should, and I get why they don't, because they're just outside the realm of heavy. That I mean,
and they're from Finland too. Then they stayed pretty prominent.
Yeah, but I mean,
over in Europe than they did
ahead of their time
here.
too, though. Because you look now, heavy music is kind of mainstream, like Knocked Loose at the Grammys. Gojira at the Olympics.
Dude, but
you know?
that keyboard,
and Gojira's a little closer to Children of Bodom. You know what I mean?
I mean, you had that keyboard, dude, and it was insane. And you had his wild ass vocals and him shredding that fucking guitar,
sweet picking,
wild
chugs, like
man, dude, I can't say enough
polyrhythms and
Cobb,
shit.
Dude, they were fucking goddamn, they were good. But yeah, I discovered them from Baker, man, and it's crazy. It's one of them bands that stuck with me because I rode with them for a long time, dude. They were one of my favorites, and I never got to see them live either.
There's four main sources of literally my entire music taste, and it's two of them go together: skate videos and the Tony Hawk games. You know what I mean? What?
I heard it sounded like people yelling out there.
Oh, I don't know. But the
Look
skate
out the
videos,
window, and there's like just a woman standing there in the yard.
Could be. I mean, I hear yelling all the time, and it's the neighbors in their backyard.
That's crazy.
But and then MySpace.
Yeah,
MySpace
music
was big.
a big deal. Yeah.
Honestly, AOL Instant Messenger. I remember chatting with this broad when I was in I must have been 11, 12 years old, chatting with this chick named Nikki who lived in Las Vegas. And she turned me on to, the Ramones and Sex Pistols and shit like that. And, dude, swear to God, you know how, not to jerk my own wad or nothing, but I was kind of on the tight pants fucking train well before.
Oh, yeah, you were wearing chick pants before it was cool, dude.
But she was the one that was because we would send pictures back and forth and shit like that, keep up with each other over the years. Yeah. And, I sent her an outfit I got between 8th grade and 9th grade, and she was like, you got a good style going, but you should really rock tight pants. And then sent me a picture of, some Ramones-looking dudes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And was like this. And they were just, super skinny jeans, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, yeah, that's when I started fucking. But back then, too, and it's kind of coming back, flares. A lot of dudes would wear flares.
I didn't really start wearing skinny jeans till I got out of school, which is kind of wild. And I just never looked back.
You revamped your style in your 20s for sure.
Yeah. I grew my hair out and quit wearing tap-out T-shirts.
Yeah. Biggest glow up.
Yeah. I went from a skinhead with a beard to...
wore cholo shit and jerseys.
And honestly, I didn't really realize that I could do my hair. I used to just buzz it off because it was just easier, and I like to wear hats. So I started wearing hats all the time, and I was buzzing my head, and I was getting those flat bill truckers and shit like that, and the snapbacks. And then I remember one summer I was listening to Suicidal Tendencies all summer long. And it started to get cold because, winter started moving in. I was like, dude, I'm going to start wearing flannels, and I'm going to button the top button. And the hats and the shaved head, and I started wearing the Dickie shorts. And I changed the entire look because one time I was getting ready for a party, and this is another instance of me just being oblivious to all the bullshit that's out there. But I was getting ready for this party, and my buddies picked me up, and I come out of the house. I had just freshly shaven my head. I had a little goatee, and I had my Chuck Taylors on with the knee-high socks, and I had my Dickie shorts, and I had a wife beater on tucked in, and I hadn't put my shirt on yet, you know. And I come outside to tell them, I was like, yo, I'll be out just a minute. I'm going to put my shirt on, and I'm going to grab my jacket. And when I come out and they seen me in that with just the tank top on, the wife beater, they were like, bro, what in the fuck are you doing? They're like, you look like fucking Edward Norton, dude. Like,
yeah,
you've got to quit. So after that, I was like, you know what, man? Like, I love the style, dude. I love the fucking...
And it wasn't a terrible
look. But
it
just me being the whitest dude ever with a shaved head was not the look.
You did look racist, but you looked chill about it.
Yeah,
You know
you looked like the cool racist at the party. But I had the suicidal hat, like the bent bill with the flip up, had suicidal on it. I wore the fuck out of that hat, man. Like,
I had one of them.
I was
wore
all about it,
like,
dude. I'm probably gonna get another one.
Senior year, and I had a goddamn pin on it
Hell yeah.
that said "meat is murder."
Yeah, of course you did. Dude.
Well, and when people would give me shit about it, they'd be like, "What are you, a fucking vegan pussy?" I'd be like, "Nah, dude, it's the Smiths album," and they were like, "That's even gayer."
Yeah, dude. Then he got beat up, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll end up getting me a new ST hat, man. I might cop one before we go to New York, dude. Rock it up there.
Might
man.
as well, dude.
Yeah.
I'll probably get a fucking a scally, get a Boston scally cap, dude.
I'd like to get a sailor hat, dude.
I'd like to, before we go up there, get like maybe a big pointed hood of some kind.
Whoa.
A dunce
Calm
cap.
down, yay.
A dunce cap.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
You're gonna look like Chapel Roan getting
Did
that
they
award,
ever?
dude.
Did they really do that in school back in the day?
She
like,
wore one a couple months ago.
No, but I remember that.
I
She's
thought that,
hot
I
as
love
fuck.
her, dude.
But
It's my Midwest queen.
I do like the idea of like you're in class. Hey, what's 2 times 2? Fucking one kid's like 22. No, dumbass. Put on the dumbass hat and sit in the dumbass corner. Everybody point
is
at the dumbass.
dunce dumbass? Is that like a...
Yeah, dunce means you're like a fool,
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
know
kind
what
of
I mean,
figured
like
as
a-
much. A jester of sorts.
a dipshit.
We're jesters.
We're jesters, but we're not dipshits.
No, yeah.
I wouldn't say a dunce is a jester. Now, a jester can be a dunce, but a lot of times a jester has a little bit of wit about him. You know what I mean? A lot of times a jester is one of the only people that can criticize royalty and not pay a consequence. It's part of their job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I need to be level-headed. I need to be criticized, but I'm going to need you to do it in a lighthearted, jovial manner, or I'll behead you.
Yeah.
I read a book in prison about a dude who was a jester. Well, okay, so he was like a villager, and the king came and like killed his people. So he fucking went, he was an orphan. He went and got raised by some people, went to jester school, became a jester to become like the king's jester, and then he ended up like, assassinating the king.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, pretty cool, dude. I wish I could remember the name of it. I also read a very Danzig-esque book in there. I wish I could remember the name of. I know it was part of a series, but it was about a vampire who like was Danzig. You know what I mean? Like he fucking wore a leather duster, shirtless, big skull medallion, long black hair and shit. And he would go around New Orleans, man. He really liked chicory coffee, and he would just bang broads. It was like a sex novel. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
It was pretty cool. I read through that bad boy in like one evening, dude.
Hell yeah. You're like, this is worth 100 AR points, dude.
A surprising amount of sex novels in prison. You think they
yeah.
wouldn't want that shit in there?
That's
You always
gotta
hear
do something, dude.
You always hear these books that are like banned in prisons, like the 48 Laws of Power and shit. And you'll hear about it in prison. You'll be like, "You ever hear about this book, man? It's banned in here. I read it. Teaches you how to manipulate people, man. The guards are scared that if the prisoners read it, they'll take over the prison, man." And I read it when I got out of prison because it was talked about so much in Webster County. I was like, I gotta know.
Did it do anything for you?
I've looked into the dude, Robert Greene. He's wrote like the Laws of Seduction, 48 Laws of Power, all these fucking books that are just supposed to be about like psychology and manipulation to like get ahead in life. And it's all just like bozo psychopath shit, like about, you know, basic shit that would occur to anybody, but most people don't do. Just like lying and manipulating and ass kissing your boss, gaslighting people around you, all the shit that you see people do, like people you know that are dickheads that, you know, may or may not get successful using these tactics. But I think we all know like a certain fucking, you know, lawn care mogul who fucking has read a 48 Laws of Power. You know what I mean?
I know an orange guy that did too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, guaranteed. All of those type of people love that type of shit. It's very much like everybody that's into manosphere shit has read 48 Laws of Power. I didn't know it was so like, you know, dumb until I read it. It's all about like Machiavelli and fucking like, you know, Julius Caesar and the various ways they fucking Stoicism, which is like a popular philosophy nowadays, man. There's whole YouTube
You gotta walk
channels.
into a Little Caesars and say, man, you telling me Julius cooked this?
And you telling me Julius spazzed out and died in here?
He got stabbed by a steak knife in here, dude.
That is pretty crazy. What's crazy is that he was such a Caesar, right? Julius, that he is like associated. Because Caesar was just king, man. Just king.
He's got his own palace, his own salad, his own fucking
Name
dressing.
Another Caesar besides him or Augustus. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's one I'm missing.
No, there's tons. Every king, the Caesar of Rome, you know what I mean? There was tons of them throughout the Roman Empire. But those were the big ones we remember.
That's crazy.
And the word Caesar, you know, is so synonymous that it's been translated into other languages. Like Tsar literally just means Caesar. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude. And they named a whole disorder after him. Because of he fucking spazzed out when he got stabbed, and that's what they call a Caesar. Isn't that crazy?
And that was cute, dude.
What if you were king, dude, and you were like, hey, best bud, dude, let's go hang out, and then you turn around and he stabs you in the back 27 times, dude?
I'd probably be a little mad.
I'd be mad. I'd say, Brutus, you bitch.
I'd probably kick his ass, dude.
It's crazy.
And I'd probably stab him back. We'd look like Stu and Billy.
In Dante's Inferno, he's one of the three traitors in the mouth of Satan. Satan's like a big three-headed dragon in the seventh layer of hell in that fucking book. Mm-hmm. And he has three traitors in his mouth. One's Judas, one's Brutus. I can't remember who the third one was. I know in one of there's a lot of like Christian fan fiction versions of Dante's Inferno, which is a Christian fan fiction, but one of them I read in prison was written by a pastor, and it's all about, you know, as he's going through hell, he just is seeing like there's gay people and Muslims down there and shit.
Of course. Of course.
And in his, I remember Benedict Arnold was one of the three traitors in Satan's mouth.
What'd he do?
Benedict Arnold like sold out the fucking colonial government to the redcoats.
Oh yeah, it's all coming back.
Yeah, but we still won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah.
He couldn't have gave up that many secrets if we still... Which, you know, that's another one of those things you look back on, and over here you don't really learn just how much the French saved our asses in that war. Mm-hmm. You know, they show it in The Patriot. Yeah. To their credit, you know, they're fighting.
And you was just talking about how much you love Mel Gibson in that movie.
I do love that movie, man. For a very, like, severely left-wing douchebag, the Patriot goes hard.
Aim
dude.
small, miss small, dude. Something about him holding his dying son, Heath Ledger, in his arms. That just, you know.
Well, when he finally kills Malfoy's dad at the end, dude, fucking, that really did it for me, man.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, The Patriot. I remember watching that in 5th grade in Miss Hill's class, dude. And she's like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be on the test, you know.
And that's a great movie to have to watch in school, dude.
We watched some banger movies in school that I still love to this day. Patriot, Dead Poet Society. That was a regular. Watched Talladega Nights in school, dude.
And now, you know, if we're talking, let me just pick your brain for a minute, dude. We're doing this at a sheer fantasy of like how it's perceived, not factual.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you have rather have been like maybe a ninja type or like an assassin, like in like Japan or like in Asia in general? Would you have rather been a cowboy in the West, or would you have rather been a pirate in the 7 seas, dude? Out of the 3, which one would you pick, dude?
I'll tell you off the bat, you want to go ninja. I feel like ninja's the move, but hear me out.
Yeah.
Everything about it is sick, but it's obviously, you got to have a lot of fucking focus, man. You got to be like dedicated to ninjaism for a long time.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and tell you this. Piracy, love it at its core. It's my favorite type of crime. However, open ocean, off the table completely.
Yeah.
I could have never been a pirate, dude.
Krakens, man.
I'll tell you this, dude. I don't think...
Krakens.
I think if it was today, I'd still be sitting my happy ass over in England. I don't think I would have gotten on that boat and came to America, dude.
No,
3 months in a wooden boat? No, dude.
That is kind of crazy.
They made it out of trees, Joey. They made it out of trees, and then they sailed it across open water, dude.
The genius that figured out that wood floats, man. Buoyancy, baby.
Buoyancy, dude.
See, I'm fucking a little more intelligent. He gives me credit for, dude. Me personally, man, I think I'm gonna take being a gunslinger in the West, dude.
Yeah, that's where I'm landing on. Because let me tell you, it's dirty, it's disease-ridden, there's a lot going on. But you know me, it turns out I love the desert.
There's bars and brothels and guns.
I love prostitutes. I love
riding
guns.
Horses, prostitutes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
in.
in.
Be a cowboy, baby.
Wanna be a cowboy, baby.
And you know, I've got I had a nice Western
day.
theme going on here. Man, I still do, but you know, I like the Western.
A pig, couple cowboys.
Yeah.
Dice, dude, with the number 16, your favorite age. Sick as fuck, dude. You know?
Yeah, man. I was gonna have him do 666, and I thought, we better not do that.
Should have had him do 37.
I can't do math. I was gonna do just 1, 2, 3, man.
Or just a lucky
4,
7.
5, 6 in there. Dude.
2 dice, you know.
That's probably some type of connotation of 4, 5, 6. It's probably horrible. I should probably
4, 5, 6. Come on and get your kid, 'cause you don't need money with a face like that, do you, honey? Remember that? Jet.
Yeah, we all remember Jet, dude.
And you know what happened to them?
Cold hard bitch.
Cold hard bitch. You're just a kiss on the lips.
Yeah.
I was on my
They were
knees.
big for a second, dude. Everybody really thought they were gonna be something.
Well, that kind of garage
And they did more
rock,
than I have, man.
indie rock shit was popping off, and it really looked like bands like Jet and Wolfmother were gonna take over.
Yeah, woman, you know you woman, you know woman,
to the woman.
something about a woman,
I like that. And what is it? Hangover? 2 or 1?
woman.
You got to do the woman. You might be a woman.
Yeah,
You got
that's
to
your
feel love,
woman. I'm a
love.
woman. We're all woman. What was the one that was in? They had the other one too, dude. What was the other wolf?
When you be a woman.
No, dude. Hold on, I gotta look that up.
Hell yeah, man. I like Jet. I remember this. Now, by the time you got in high school, did they ever bring any...
and the thief in the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little story about a joker and a thief in the night. Yeah,
And that is kind of badass, dude. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you.
Did they
dude.
ever have any of those motivational rock bands come to the high school
They
when
had
you were
the
in high
Wolf
school?
Brothers. That's the only thing I can remember, dude.
I remember the Wolf
Yeah,
Brothers.
yeah.
They were awesome. I just saw the Wolf Brothers a few years ago when my kid was still at
I
Catherine Wynn.
remember. I can't remember what grade I was in, but I remember them doing like a mock car crash in the parking lot.
Yeah, dude.
And let me tell you something, dude.
And they had like one of them out there, like being a body.
I'm gonna go on record here, dude, and I might regret this. I don't know that I hated that.
Dude, did they do that thing where the Grim Reaper walked around the school?
And if they would have,
freshman year,
I would have left. I
Freshman
would have
year.
dropped out, dude.
Early in the year, before I
That's
made
crazy,
any friends,
dude.
dude. I'm in tech lab. I'll turn around. There's fucking Grim goddamn Reaper standing in there, middle of fucking August. What's he doing here?
And out of everybody, they probably should have attacked you first.
They did. They came and tapped me on the shoulder, and then I had to go out of class, sit in the gym for like an hour, and then they made me lay on the ground and put a sheet over me and brought the whole fucking school in. It wasn't just me. There was like 40 of us.
But see how insane that is.
And there were like 40 students die every fucking day from car explosions, and these are your friends right here. And they did the reveal one by one. They took the reveal off me, and they're like, "Who's she?"
Who's that girl? She new here? Yes. Yeah. Did I come outside? Out there, like we're doing an assembly, and like I forget, I was in some dickhead's class. I can't remember which one, dude, but he sucked. And he was like, didn't want to take us out there because learning's more important. And honestly, this was like the day I agreed with him. I was like, please, man, can we stay and learn? Don't take me out in that hot ass parking lot.
I don't want to go watch.
And there's like friends, people I knew, and they had like they brought out just a junked car that probably was in a DUI crash. Yeah. They threw it in the parking lot. They splattered fucking fake blood on everybody.
They had Haley get up there and lay in the windshield.
Yeah, and they shoved a bunch of people on the hood, and it was like insane. And I just remember standing there, and I was like, I don't need this shit, dude. I hate that. Like, I don't know. Something about it whatever.
I remember.
I'm not crashing out about this. I'm not doing it to myself.
No, that shit was wild.
But that is just cringe and stupid.
They did a lot of,
crazy
shit, dude. Like that, like the Grim Reaper, like
now when they showed
the motivational
videos,
rock
like
bands.
They would show the videos, man, of like what happens if you drink and drive, shit like that. I can get behind that, like that's fine. You want to do an assembly, bring in a survivor, like whatever. We talk about it, that's fine. But it just feels to me, and maybe this is just me being a hater, but it just felt like we're making a mockery of this shit. It just seemed like it was a mockery of people that have died in because of drunk driving.
Yeah,
we're out here painting kids up and putting them in the parking lot on the hot tarmac. Dude.
Definition of doing too much.
Yeah, doing the most, man. I just thought that was stupid.
We really gotta hammer it to these kids. It's like no. Like we know. Here's the thing: no amount of extra is gonna stop people from drinking and driving. You lay it out there. You lay down the facts. I've been saying this for years, dude. The whole Red Ribbon anti-drug, anti-drinking program in school, it does way more harm than good, man. Yeah. You're filling kids' heads full of all this extra nonsense. Just give them the cold, hard fucking facts. Mm-hmm. And tell them the truth about, like, look, dude, you're gonna drink. Yeah. You're gonna drink before you're of age.
You're gonna
be
smoke
responsible.
A little weed. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's so much better to teach safety and responsibility than abstinence, dude. Because guess what? I really also think that if you are open with it, right? Yeah. If they were in school and my teacher was telling me, like, yeah, you're going to experiment with drugs and butt fucking and all that, everybody does it, I would have probably been like, wait, if my teacher thinks this is cool, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as a former addict, well, I mean, I guess you're always an addict, right? Like, you're always going to battle.
According to AA.
I want to be correct. I don't want to offend. I want to be PC to all my
That's what they,
addicts.
I mean, that's what they say. And I would agree with it to an extent.
Do you believe that there's gateway drugs? And what do you think is a gateway drug if you do believe in it?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent. Everybody's got their gateway into anything. But if anything is a gateway drug, it is definitely alcohol. Mm-hmm. Alcohol is the most easily accessible, easily mind-altering substance there is.
I think being drunk, especially if you're like so drunk you can't feel your lips. Like when your lips go numb, dude, and you're fucking just on the verge of throwing up and you're telling everybody your deepest, darkest secrets and shit. that at that point is the most. I mean, that's up there with being fucked up like on drugs. Like I've never done heroin. That's one that I can't claim, or PCP. But just about everything else, man, I've tampered with at some point. Statute of limitations, dude, suck me. I don't give a fuck. Everybody knows. Everybody that's listening to my stand-up comedy knows.
You can admit to doing drugs. I don't think there's.
I've done some things I'm not proud of. And I'm lucky and thankful that it was usually just a one-off, and I was just experimenting, and that's as far as it went. But I never did heroin. I never did PCP. I never did a couple of things. But being drunk, though, like that feeling of just I've drank a whole bottle of tequila and I'm ready to die, that feeling, that's up there with any drug that I ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's up there with pain pills. That's up there with smoking weed. That's up there with anything as far as something that will numb the body or like make
I would say
feel,
like, as far as impairment goes,
yeah,
alcohol beats out cocaine.
Oh, it's got to.
It definitely beats out like weed. Right. I think it beats out opiates.
Yeah.
Up to a level of
high.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only a few other things that I think impair you as bad as alcohol, to where like, no, you definitely shouldn't get behind the wheel of a vehicle. Xanax,
yeah,
meth,
yeah,
and if you're super fucked up on opiates, to where you're nodding out. But
yeah, we went to the family reunion.
Yeah,
I stole Uncle Charlie's fucking necklace, man. Yeah,
that type of shit.
Yeah.
But impairment,
yeah,
fully fucking your body up to where you can't drive a car, or
yeah.
And
that's
bro, people want to talk shit about people zombied out on heroin. Oh, look at this Skid Row. Look at this. Go to any bar street on the weekend and
go
look
down
at
to
the
Nashville,
thousands of people puking in public,
go
passing
down to
out
New
in public.
Orleans.
Yeah,
go to
dude.
Vegas for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
How many
and no
bodies do we
drugs
step over in Vegas, dude?
of just drunkards, dude.
Yeah.
Tourists getting drunk, passing out on the street,
Yeah.
waking up a few hours later, sunburn.
Totally socially acceptable.
Yeah,
and that's crazy to me, dude.
But you get a little fucking heroin.
Yeah.
You nod out,
you
standing up straight.
Yeah, take the plunge one time, dude.
It is kind of crazy, but because I do think the way I got fucked up on heroin, there was only ever a handful of times that I was a nodder, you know what I mean?
Damn.
A lot of times I'd be, more energized, if anything, when I got on it,
Mm-hmm.
But I was a broke drug user, dude, so I was in detox more than I was high. So I would feel like shit for like half of every day and then get high. And then I would have all the energy in the world to do whatever I needed to do. But yeah, fuck that. If you really educated people about drinking and weed and all that extra shit, I mean.
Well, happy 8 years, baby boy. I'm proud of you. And I love you.
Just did 8 years off. I love you, buddy. 8 years off heroin last week, man. And, it's crazy. It feels wild.
Yeah.
I'm
sure it does, dude.
It's just it's not wild being off of it. It's wild to look back
and think that you were on
that
it.
I was on it.
And bad,
and the
too.
shit that I was up to, you know what I mean?
He was up to no good, dude.
Yeah.
I used to wait. God, man, let me just I sound like when that boy would get arrested and he would go to jail for drugs, I would wait like a woman whose husband went off to war, dude. And as soon as I would get word that my mans had come back home, I would be the first one on his doorstep.
Yeah.
Every time, dude. Every time. I just couldn't get enough, man. Couldn't get enough of the punishment. And I remember the first time you come up to the house in Hebron. It was the Halloween party, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
That was awesome. That was a real full circle moment, having you up there with all my people. And I was like, this right here is my dude. This is my boy. This is my,
And not
this is my good time pal.
Stayed off of it.
This is my rotten soldier.
It's my fucking 2-time Charlie, dude.
Yeah, dude.
This is my Jimmy hat.
It was kind of cool, dude. It was a good time.
Well, this has been a good run, dude. It's been a good run this time.
That ain't dumb, is it?
No, I mean, you know.
I thought you bet the episode.
I've stayed out of prison for 8 years.
Yeah, dude,
and
that's
I've
cool,
stayed out
man.
of-
And it's not as taxing on me without you going in there.
Not as taxing on me, dude. I tell you what.
Now look at us, stand-up comedians.
I had a nightmare, dude, like a couple weeks ago, that in the nightmare, I had done heroin in the dream and was just like freaking out about how I was going to go back to jail and all this shit, dude. Because in the dream, like I had done it and I was in trouble and I was going to get arrested. That was like the premise of the dream.
Yeah.
So I was like freaking out. And it really made me appreciate not being in jail and on drugs.
Yeah, it's not cool, man. That's not a good time, dude.
It's pretty sick, dude. I had a great time for a while.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying it's not a fun and great time.
The first 3
Talking like
months,
this and fucking slouched over.
before I realized I was
Back in
addicted to it, dude, the first 3 months when it was me and Andy Little living in that one-room apartment.
Hell yeah, dude. Name dropping, bro.
I had Dara and Crystal over
Jesus
there
fucking Christ.
hanging out all the time. And we were just doing it at our leisure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Up until I had to move back to Frankfurt, dude. I had the time of my life. Week 1 in Frankfurt, I was just like, I've got to move. I'm just quit doing heroin. That's the first time I ever got dope sick, and I didn't know I was dope sick because I had done it at my leisure for like 3 months. You know, anytime I wanted it, I just had it. And I, for the last couple weeks before that, stayed high the whole time. So fucking, I'm... waking up the next morning in Frankfurt, pouring sweat, feeling like I'm going to throw up, back's hurting. I go to the doctor like 3 times, and they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. You've got an ulcer, but there's nothing wrong with your back or anything like that. And then I find a fucking Suboxone, get a hold of a Suboxone down there, and I'm like, I'll do a piece of a Suboxone. That sounds pretty good. Maybe if I get high, it'll make me feel better. And the moment it hit my bloodstream, the sickness went away, and I realized, oh no, I'm addicted to heroin. Got to do something about this. So I went back to town, got a gram to bring back home with me, and said, we're never feeling that again, dude.
Hell yeah. I remember one of my least favorite times, dude. I'd been hanging out. We'd been partying all weekend, dude. I believe it was the same weekend the cops showed up looking for your brother and he wasn't there, and me and Ramsey had just ripped that fucking bong that y'all kept hidden under the sink, the red one. It looked like a volcano.
I missed that, man.
Yeah,
it was
a good fucking bong. But I remember we were high as shit, and I was on the couch and he was on I was on the love seat and he was on the couch, and the cops showed up looking for your brother and he wasn't there, and yada yada yada. And then next day, we got up and we did whatever, and then the next night we went to another party, and then I remember that night we come home from that particular party, I decided to go home and I didn't stay, and then early that next morning you guys got raided and y'all went to jail for heroin.
Oh yeah.
And I was so close to have been there when that was going on.
Good thing you weren't.
Yeah.
You would have got interrogated for hours like your cousin did.
Yeah, I felt bad for her, man. That was ass. But yeah, dude, I was very lucky that I was not there that night. There was a couple of times. Remember that night we come in from the party and I was carrying her in, dude, and I hit her head on the fucking on the refrigerator. I thought I killed her.
Yeah, that was like the first time we all hung out.
I felt bad about it at the moment, like when it happened, but the next day when I had to clean all the puke up out of the back of the Mustang, I didn't feel bad anymore, and I told her, I was like, I hope that hurt, because my car is fucking destroyed.
We got drunk off that Philadelphia up there at Andrews.
Yeah.
And then I snuck off and got heroin that night, remember?
Yeah.
And you were a little bit mad at me.
I was.
You were like, my cousin likes you. Y'all are supposed to be hanging out. And you left her all drunk and fucked up. And I was like...
Yeah, I was mad, dude.
I needed heroin, dog.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he said, too. I was like... Because he left, and then I drove back down. And I forget who was with me. Ace. Wasn't Ace with me that night?
I think so, because she was living at the house.
Damn, I hate name dropping her like that. But
Shout out.
We're family now, dude, and I love her, so it's fine. But anyways, I'm pretty sure she was in the front seat, maybe. And it might not have been her, but I know Andy was in the back seat, and she just was profusely puking all over the back seat. And I remember we got there, you were there, and I think your brother showed up too.
Yeah.
But I was carrying her in. I hit her fucking head on the fridge, man. And then I was mad about that. And then I pulled you in the road. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? He's like, whoa, I was going to the marrow, man. You know, get a little high, dude. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Can't we all?
Trick.
Can't we all just go out and just chug bottles of whiskey and drink and drive, dude?
That's
you
what's
not
wrong
just
with me,
do
dude.
heroin for fucking once, bro?
The heroin Xanax Philadelphia mixture was not good on the old body.
And dude, who was there that? Because actually, the more I think about it, I had the red Mustang.
Upton.
Yeah, Upton was there, and obviously us and her and
I think
Andrew,
my brother.
and he probably was. But somebody, I didn't drive my car home that night because I remember I had the '94, I had the red
You
Mustang.
drove your car to my house.
Did I?
Yeah,
I
because
coulda
that's when
swore
she
I
puked in the drive
yeah, but
to my house.
I could have swore I looked in the back seat, man, and I was like watching her puke, and I don't feel like I was driving while I did that. I
Maybe
might have
somebody
been.
drove for you.
And this is 15 years ago, dude.
Well, you've been drinking. Maybe you let somebody drive.
And that's what I'm thinking. But I can't. But I don't know who would have been
It
there.
could have been Ace. It could have been Ramsey. I think Upton took me and my brother to get the shit. So I was like, maybe Nick?
It might have been. I don't know. I probably wouldn't let Nick drive my car back then, dude. If I'd probably just been better off drinking and driving. But I can remember, though, looking in the back.
Shout
and,
out Nick, dude. He just texted me, seeing if we were cool.
Is he cool? Is he good?
Yeah.
I just remember looking back and because I was like talking to her, and she was like, "Oh, I feel good.
I feel good.
I threw up." Like, and I just
Yeah,
don't
she
think
did.
I could have done all that while I was driving, dude. But I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyways, good night. Aside from that, man,
Yeah, we had a few good nights over
We
at
did,
Andrew's
dude.
house,
we
man.
had fun, man.
I had fun back in.
I'm glad that shit's like it is now, though, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I'm glad you're better.
We live a
I'm
much
glad.
more
I'm glad I did
manageable
not.
lifestyle.
I'm glad I didn't slip off the slope of being an alcoholic, dude. Because that could have easily been a thing, man.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad
You
that
got
I
a
didn't
you got a
do
handle
that.
on it right at the right time, man.
Yeah.
Because you were drinking a lot again here a couple years ago, but
Yeah.
pretty much after the first time you got mildly sick, you were like, I don't
don't
think I'm
wanna
gonna do that.
anymore. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, dude. We used to do it all the time. 'Cause it was just, it's the weekend. Like that's what we're gonna do, dude. We're gonna find the easiest and cheapest way to get drunk, and I just enjoyed doing that more than anything else. And I feel like that's another. I like to think that drinking probably saved me from doing crazier shit because
There was a
That
few
was
great
the-
nights at
all the way
Adam, Matt,
through
and Nick's.
yeah, and there was some good nights at Johnny Five's too. That we were just fucked up. But I can
Yeah.
remember I quit for a long time. I didn't drink at all. And then I remember when we were partying up and we lived in Hebron and shit, I was drinking a lot of wine. And then I quit again. I didn't drink. And then when me and Tim that summer, I moved back. It's like from like 2021 to like 2022 or 23. Like I was drinking, but it wasn't, nothing like it was like crazy.
You were going out having some social drinks.
But there was a couple of times in the summer though that I got drunk, like you said, and I got sick, and I threw up one time, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, we're not doing this shit anymore." And I really don't drink, man. Like I'll go months at a time without having a drink at all. I like to do it. I like a couple times a year. I like to turn it on, dude, and celebrate and enjoy it. And I think that was my thinking too, because like I would see people like, I'm not shitting on anybody that gets sober, especially from alcohol, like, but I'll watch these interviews with these dudes that like were alcoholics at one point in time and now they're sober and they're older now. And I'm like, in my head, I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I was like 60 or 70 or 50 or whatever and I could sit back and enjoy a drink because I didn't do that my whole fucking life. And I think for a minute, like that was my thinking.
That's
so
good.
I quit
that's
and
a
I
good
was like,
thought.
yeah. So I'm like, now, maybe when I'm in my 50s or whatever, 60s, and I've had a long day or I'm out, in the summertime, want to have a cocktail, I can do it and enjoy it. Because I've never really felt at one point in time when I was younger, I did. But like as me now, the past, 5, 6, 7 years, I can drink and not want to drink again for months at a time, dude. And I'm cool with that. I like that, man. I like having a glass of wine here or there. Or I like cracking a beer, dude. I had that Modelo at fucking Chameleons a couple weeks ago, and it was perfect.
I'm glad I can because I genuinely feel like I could sip beer if I wanted to, but I also can't just dietarily because beer's full of gluten.
Yeah, you'll die, dude.
So it's not even a. And I hard liquor's
and
out of
I'm
the question
sure
for me.
gluten-free fucking beers suck, dude.
I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm sure they've
No, it is. It's a thing.
come up with some shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I've always said, if I make it to 90, dude,
Mm-hmm.
if I go my whole life, I stay healthy enough to make it to 90 years old, or if I get diagnosed terminally ill, I'm doing heroin again,
Hell
dude.
yeah, as you should, baby boy. As
Maybe
you should,
not
dude.
street heroin, but I'm getting morphine or Stellar
Yeah,
or something.
you getting
dude.
some type of Percocet,
Yeah.
some type of fucking, Yeah.
I'm gonna cure what ails me, dude. I'm finally gonna shut that motherfucker up, dude.
I'm shooting for 70, hoping for 80. And I think that's fair.
My grandma fought cancer 3 separate times and lived to 76, so
Yeah.
I think I could make it to 75.
I think once you get past 70, it's all bets are off. And then if you make it to 80, you've had a full life.
It's
dude.
anybody's ball game. And if
Yeah.
you make it to 100, God likes you.
Yeah.
Or he hates you.
Yeah, or he just wants you to be miserable.
You make it to 100 in good health, that's awesome. You make it to 100 in bad health.
Man, that's rough, dude. And that's what I worry about, dude. I don't want to be fucking 100 in bad health, dude. With
That's what I'm saying.
All my family and friends are fucking dead, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Couldn't do that.
And and pause the show just so you can read that.
I screenshotted that so I could show
so-
it to you after
dude.
the fucking.
What? This is insane. I'm not calling him out. I'm not even gonna mention it on the show.
No, but look,
that's crazy,
I literally,
dude. Why would he
literally
post that?
screenshotted it so I could show it to you.
And it might be a bad time. And it fucking is, dude. Like,
so funny.
anyways, dude, we'll talk about that here in a minute when we wrap this up. But yeah, that's fucking what a dumbass. But yeah, we're good, man. But yeah, we've had a good fucking time, dude. Like, it's been, it's fun. And like I said, looking back, reminiscing now, especially where we're at, dude, kind of fucking cool, man.
Well, dude, getting through all that, doing our own separate shit,
Yeah.
rekindling, yada yada. Here we are, riding out a fucking storm.
Yeah. And it is still fucking. We've been on this. Well, we're probably close to an hour, right?
Yeah, right at an hour.
Yeah, so we've been on
almost.
here for an hour, and it has not stopped once. Like, it's still thundering. It's still pouring. Like,
Supposed to go for another probably 2 hours, maybe. The worst part of it's through.
yeah.
Hopefully. But it's supposed to rain here for like 5
4
days straight.
5
Yeah,
days,
4.
yeah.
They're talking about
crazy,
up
dude.
to a foot of rain, which could be crazy.
It's just catastrophic to anybody with a yard, dude.
Yeah.
Anybody that drives a Mustang, anybody that has a yard, anybody that fucking
Anybody
breathes,
with
dude.
rear-wheel drive.
Anybody that's just ready for summer, dude. Tired of this shit.
You ever fucking hydroplane in that thing?
A couple of times. 36 has got me a few times going home.
It's got me in the fucking truck,
Yeah,
dude.
dude, you can only imagine in that fucking car, dude. And I'm not saying, like, I don't like people that say, I know my car, I know how to drive, whatever.
I do,
can't,
so I also know when it's gonna.
Yeah, I can
wreck.
confidently say that I've drove Mustangs for all of my
20 years.
adult life, dude. I've had a Mustang of some sorts, and I'm not saying I know how to handle it, but like I'm accustomed to it, and I know how they drive, and I know what to do and not to do now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't, like nobody's telling you a rear-wheel drive Mustang is safe. It's not. The rain, the ice, it's all ass. But you kind of figure out what it can and can't do. And I know hydroplaning's pretty unpredictable, but if you go fucking slow, pump your brakes. Don't act like a fucking idiot.
Pay attention,
don't drive stupid.
If you see a big chunk of water coming up,
dude, you don't need to hit it going 70 in a Mustang.
Yeah,
you don't need
exactly.
to do that. That's something you can avoid. That you don't have to do that.
I mean, you see people spin out in a Mustang on dry. You know what I mean? Or just a fast rear-wheel drive car in general.
I'm gonna eventually get rid of it and do away with the Mustang, man.
That'll be crazy. A new era, dude.
Yeah, at some point it's gonna happen, dude.
You gonna go Japanese?
Yeah. I really, really daydream about owning a fucking Mitsubishi Lancer, dude. An Evo.
And that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would still suit you.
And at this age, honestly, I probably wouldn't. I would probably just get the Rally Art, which is like the step down from the Evo. It's not even really the same fucking thing. I mean, they look it's the same body, but like you get the Lancer, just your basic, and then you get the Rally Art, and then you get the Evo. Evo's its own fucking animal, dude. Like Evo's always been my dream car, but I do love the Rally Arts, the way they look and shit. So. I would like, and they're discontinued. I think they quit making them like 2014 or some shit. But
see, if I
that's the goal.
had the money to just have an extra car, that's the type of fat. Because I would want something I could play in and have some fun.
I like them too. Is it the WSRs or
something like
WXRs
that?
or
Those are
whatever?
cool.
Yeah.
Nissan's got a few I like.
The
The Skyline,
God
obviously.
damn,
If I get a hold of one of those.
dude, fuck me.
Or a Toyota. But yeah, I'd go with a fucking rice burner, fucking quick little fun car. But I'm never gonna, as far as like, if I only have the vehicles, that I can afford, have to have two, I'm keeping a Prius and a Colorado for the rest of my life.
You know what I always thought was a cool fucking look, dude, was them all blacked out, just the murdered out fucking Honda Civics they ran.
Oh,
in, the first Fast and the Furious. They're like
that's still what I
2001
picture
or
when I
whatever.
think of a Honda Civic, dude.
Yeah, those were fucking sick, dude.
Just
I
a
like
fully
those,
fucking JDM'd out fucking little tag hanging out the ass in type of shit, dude.
Get me a fucking what did Andy have? What'd she
Andy. Oh, she had an Eclipse.
Yeah, she
I
had
thought
a
you were talking about Andy Little had an SRT that was
yeah.
sick as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
XRT.
Yeah, those were sick, dude. Jeff Pinnock had a bunch of different ones, dude.
He had his like done all the way out. He had the fucking, turbo cold air intake, fucking,
I always
That was a
liked
car I
the Mazda RX-8s, dude, but they had them stupid fucking rotary engines.
I
in it,
don't care
dude.
for the Mazdas.
I like it, but I don't like the engine in it because they go out.
What's her
and you
name?
gotta
Had a
fucking-
Mazda.
You gotta replace them and shit, dude.
Protege.
I don't like that. Yeah, those are all right.
That's the only car. Speaking of hydroplaning, that's the only car I've ever wrecked. Was that and not a dent on it? We hydroplaned, dude, for like 50
Chris got a new
yards in a 4-lane highway, and
Chris
fucking
got a new Mazda at work the other day, dude, and that's fucking super nice, bro.
Harold?
Yeah, he got
Hell
the
yeah.
hatchback. Fucking like 2025. It's like a charcoal gray.
Those new
It's beautiful,
Civics, like
dude.
my sister and Andrew
Yeah,
have, are
yeah.
badass.
Yeah.
I could do something like that, but like I said, my gas saver, I think I'll always do a Prius. We'll upgrade to a newer Prius, and I love the Colorado. I could do a different
truck,
small
man.
truck.
Yeah.
I also like the Maverick. I like the Tacoma, stuff like that.
Yeah, I really like that. And that's the Tacoma's not a. That might be a move too, dude.
Yeah.
I might get a Tacoma because I love Tim's, dude.
Yeah.
Tim's got such a good truck.
Yeah,
man.
I
It's
love his
fucking-
truck. Yeah, it's a nice.
Yeah.
Anything like that is in the ballpark. But I'll say this, man, the Colorado, I do love that truck.
And I
It is
might
a
just get
nice
a
little
fucking
truck.
van, dude. Live in it down by the river.
I do like a fucking Ford Transit, dude.
I'm gonna get an Astro, dude.
Oh, you can do it real. I thought you were talking about like a Sprinter van. Do it up.
I'm
You could
talking
get
a
like a
water
John
bed,
Hoskins
dude.
van,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm talking a water bed in that bitch, dude.
Dude, I remember statute of limitations, dude. We used to ride around high as hell in John's van,
Hell
just
yeah.
driving down it through Carrollton into people's yards over mailboxes. He'd be like, check this out. I remember riding in Ramsey's fucking truck, that big Chevy 27 he had.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking,
The white one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, dude, we'd be out in the fucking country, and he'd drive through people's fucking fences and shit.
Oh, I'm
dude.
sure, dude. He was crazy.
Wild, man.
Hell
Good
yeah.
dude, man. Good
Yeah,
lad.
always been good to me, man.
Well, you got anything for the people, man? It's been a
I
fun
don't.
one.
I don't have shit for you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening to the show. We always appreciate you. If you made it this long, man, keep making it.
I got
Do things. I don't know, dude. I'm tired as fuck. It's been.
well, here you
storming,
go.
bro.
Mall on the 17th.
Mall 17th.
Go see them
at
in Cincinnati.
MOTR.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. We're gonna be there, and then we'll be at the Chameleon afterwards.
And on day before we leave for New York, April 24th, I've got a show at the Whirling Tiger in Louisville. So if
Yeah.
you're around, it's on Story Avenue. It's at 8:30. Jamie, who's been on here, Jamie Shade, he's on it. Ty Leach, bunch of funny comedians from Louisville. So Yeah, come out to that. It should be a good time. And we're working on other shows.
Yeah, we
We'll
got
let
some
y'all
shit
know.
coming, man. Couple big announcements, stuff like that. I will break one little announcement to you now. When we get back from New York, I do plan on having more merchandise made, so be on the lookout for that. New T-shirt design. I want to keep the skeleton. This place sucks. I want to keep those exclusive to maybe just the live shows.
I'm thinking, those are done.
or
I'm
just-
thinking a one
yeah.
run on everything,
And that's
dude.
fine, and we can do that too.
I might do one more run of the skeletons because a handful of people have asked
Yeah.
that wanted shirts that didn't get them or that we ran out of
But
the
we're
size.
gonna always just do shit in limited run. I'm not gonna have
Yeah.
like shit where you can just order it or whatever. Like
Different
I'm gonna have some
designs.
shit, yeah,
Yeah. Exclusive to
and
either
hopefully we
a
can,
live show
yeah.
or a time period.
Hopefully we can get some hats and shit too, and then more stickers, pins, all that shit. So
And right now, if you're a small or you just want one for your kid to rep, we've got
yeah,
some small shirts left. I think once I deliver the couple that we're getting paid for and then give Bones his and stuff, we'll be done on large and medium. I think we've got 2 XLs left, a shitload of patches, a couple buttons and stickers. So if you want any of that, hit us up. You know, because once it's gone, it's gone.
yeah,
Shitload of patches. Give me $1, I'll give you a patch.
yeah,
So put them on whatever you want, dude.
yeah.
Patch
But,
your asshole
Yeah, hopefully
up.
we get some hats in, and then like I said, we get back from New York, so probably like I got to go to South Carolina like a couple weeks after New York, but somewhere in the time frame of May, we're gonna drop a shirt design.
We'll do a summer run,
yeah,
and then by our live show in fall, we'll
We'll
have,
have,
one
yeah,
last run
yeah,
for the
yeah,
year of
yeah.
something. We'll do different designs on everything. We'll
Yeah.
try to make them look like band shirts, do different
shit
stuff.
like that. Yeah, so we got some ideas brewing, but other than that, stay tuned for some more bigger announcements. And yeah, like I said, thanks for the support. We love all of you, dude. I hope you survived this big storm tonight. And yeah, dude, that's it. This place sucks.